Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, stuck in the wrong era.
First time in a while I'd use silent count for a home game. It's a credit to those Packer fans.
Listen here, used to winning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
Okay. But I'm also used to my defense, our defense, the Steelers defense being the reason that we win, not the reason that we lose.
19 seasons with the same man running the show. In the NFL, that typically means you have a dynasty. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is not quite the case. A dynasty certainly looked like it was on the cards with Mike Tomlin after he won a Lombardi in year 2 and made it back to the big game again by year 4. But the 15 years since Super Bowl 45 have felt like a slow collapse in the Steel City. Continuity at the head coaching position hasn't been the answer, and even with the most talented roster since Antonio Brown went AWOL, 2025 doesn't look like it will provide any reprieve. Here is the troubling reality of the Steelers super team, and why they're doomed to fail in 2025. A franchise with a history as rich as the Pittsburgh Steelers will always draw a hefty amount of scrutiny for any decisions it makes. In an era where NFL head coaches and GMs are dropping like flies, there's something truly admirable about the way they have stuck by Mike Tomlin. On the flip side, the Steelers' illustrious history also means that there are plenty of former players held in extremely high regard by the fans who aren't shy to make their voices heard when things aren't going well. For instance, here's 4-time Super Bowl champion Terry Bradshaw back in 2016.
Terry, I think Mike Tomlin still needs to prove he's a great coach.
Oh, I don't think he's a great coach at all. He's a nice coach, and I've said this. He's really a great cheerleader guy. I don't know what he does, but I don't think that he's a great coach at all. His name never even pops in my mind when we think about great coaches in the NFL.
To give you some context here, this was at the height of the Killer B era. Pittsburgh had a top 10 offense and defense, was about to make its second consecutive AFC Championship game appearance, and that was considered subpar. At the time, Bradshaw's words were seen as harsh, especially for a coach as consistent as Mike Tomlin. But 9 years later, he sounds like a prophet. That word, consistency, is the key. For all of the Tomlinisms, the quips, the reputation for winning that the Steelers head coach has cultivated, there's no debating that his approach is growing stale. Since that 2016 season, the Steelers have made the postseason 5 times, resulting in 5 consecutive first-round playoff exits. For a city like Pittsburgh, that's just not good enough. Now, there is plenty of blame to go around here, but the common denominator in the past decade of mediocrity is Mike Tomlin, and some of the peculiar choices he has made. Chief among them is his recycling of mediocre coordinators on both sides of the ball. There's no doubt that Tomlin struck gold in his early career when it came to the support system around him. Bruce Arians was promoted to offensive coordinator, and legendary DC Dick LeBeau was a holdover from Bill Cowher's Super Bowl winning staff of 2006. Not to mention, Tomlin inherited that championship caliber roster as a first-year head coach. In those successful early years, Tomlin benefited from stability in the front office as well. The Rooney family is the gold standard in sports ownership, while GM Kevin Colbert also had his hand in building championship rosters. In 2012, Arians wasn't renewed, and by 2015, LeBeau resigned. Dan Rooney's passing in 2017 left Kevin Colbert and Mike Tomlin as the only remaining pieces from the core that had maintained the organization's standard of excellence in the new millennium. In the time since, their replacements have failed to get this team back to a Super Bowl. The likes of Todd Haley, Randy Fichtner, and Matt Canada have all tried with the offense, while Keith Butler managed a 3-5 playoff record across his 7 seasons in charge of the defense.
Honestly, picking your coordinators is a big deal.
That's a big part of it, right?
Especially when you don't call plays, because he doesn't call defense.
That's it.
For the team. And so I think if there is a criticism of him, the conservatism is a part of it, right? I think there has been some late game mismanagement, at times. But yes, he hasn't found 2 guys on each side of the ball that has learned to excel in the most important moments.
One theory that is popular amongst Tomlin skeptics is that the head coach refuses to hire coordinators who would threaten his authority. Whether that means no coordinators that are good enough to get head coaching jobs, or simply personalities who won't challenge him, Tomlin's coaching tree is damning. That's to say, it's a tree with no branches. If he refuses to be pushed by his staff, Tomlin's much-lauded consistency begins to look more like complacency than anything. We're not trying to belittle his accomplishments. NFL wins are hard to come by. But at what point does the absence of any improvement begin to wear down the Steelers' faithful? Well, in 2025, it seems we have an answer. Fans are starting to get fed up. Because after years of bland offense, a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers has enough left in the tank to finally give Arthur Smith's unit some juice. The problem comes on the other side of the ball. Terrell Austin's defense is stale, predictable, and easily exposed.
Now, Mike Tomlin and Terrell Austin aren't holding up their end of the bargain with Aaron Rodgers coming into town. The offense is better. It can be dangerous, and they take care of the ball and they make plays. The defense has got to start showing up.
Last year, the unit was called out for a lack of effort in their customary first-round playoff loss. If there's one thing fans in the Steel City won't tolerate, it's a bad attitude. They've been spoiled by a lineage of fearsome defenders, from Polamalu and Harrison to Mean Joe Green and Jack Lambert.
Pittsburgh Steelers aren't supposed to be intimidated. We're supposed to be intimidators.
Again, that is the Steeler way. So a defense that lacks quality, and worst of all, toughness, is absolutely unacceptable, especially because Tomlin himself is a defensive head coach.
Mike Tomlin is a defensive coach, right?
Yes.
So what Mike Tomlin's going to have to do, coach, he's going to have to take a long look at every aspect of his coaches. The players, the coaching staff, everything, whether you're hustling, you're not hustling, you're missing tackles. He's got to take a look at that, coach, because what I see is disturbing. In the second
This offseason, they tried to address those shortcomings on the personnel side of things, which makes their awful defense in 2025 even more concerning.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, what's most alarming about it, and you can speak to this, is that this offseason, this isn't a surprise. They went out and they acquired Jalen Ramsey. They acquired Darius Slay.
Right.
They acquired Thornhill. Then they re-upped with Deshaun Elliott. And then they said, hey, we still have Porter who's going to come in. So you thought that they had all the pieces, and it was a point of emphasis this offseason, and it's still not good enough.
Right.
That's what alarms you this far into the season.
They are a bottom 10 defense in points and the third worst in yards. And nothing's changing. Hell, even Julian Edelman, who hasn't played a snap in the NFL since 2020, is reading the Steelers' defense like a book.
You knew exactly what they were doing every time, and they still do what they do. They still do the same goddamn shit that when I was playing Tomlin's defense.
Steeler football.
I'm like, what the? We still have linebackers covering the 3 slot?
Yeah.
Every time we play the Steelers, I have at least 9 catches.
Coach,
you would think that they would change it.
They're right.
No, but they do what they do.
And that's at the heart of the problem. Nothing is changing. Tomlin hides behind his winning record, but has failed to replace stalwarts of the franchise, improve the secondary in any tangible way, or find a way to win in the playoffs. Ever since Omar Khan was promoted to GM in 2022, Steelers fans have been holding out hope for a change of pace, but they keep on kicking the can down the road on major decisions. The Packers are a perfect foil to the 2025 Steelers. They drafted and developed their new franchise QB long before they needed him, then built around their guy to win championships. The only place that Khan and Tomlin have succeeded in that regard is across the front 7 of the defense, with the most important position in all of sports merely an afterthought. Short-termism saw Mason Rudolph, Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, and now Aaron Rodgers try and carry a lackluster offense to wins off the back of an elite defense. But in 2025, as their defense continues to leak points, this model is falling apart. Sure, there are some mitigating factors here. The salary cap shrinking during COVID put them in a tough situation financially for Big Ben's final few seasons. They've developed multiple elite players straight out of the draft, namely TJ Watt and Cam Hayward, but the problems of the present persist. Pittsburgh has the highest paid defense in the entire league, and it is actively losing them games. When it comes to winning defense and the nuances of Mike Tomlin's coaching style, nobody is more qualified to speak on the topic. He put it best.
With Mike, the biggest thing, I guess, that I liked about him is he is a player's coach. And the thing that I disliked about him is he is a player's coach to a point of sometimes it can disrupt, you know what I'm saying? Because it goes maybe a little too far with allowing certain things, you know what I'm saying? With certain players. And then it becomes an issue, you know, with that player.
For Tomlin, that lack of accountability has been evident in his complacency about the team's repeated shortcomings. His tendency to attract diva wide receivers who undermine his authority is startling, and no doubt a major reason why the offense never really took off until 2025. Even one of Tomlin's former players, who has been far less vocally opposed to him in the media, Ben Roethlisberger, has started raising alarms.
Tomlin is, again, he's notorious for saying we keep it, you know, I want to keep the guys here that have been with us, that have been fighting with us. Do I agree with that in this situation? I think he should go out and get somebody. Go get a safety, unless you feel that it's Peppers or Thornhill or Clark that really can get this done. But right now, the way the defense is playing, you might need a spark.
That's the question. What will light a fire under Tomlin and these Steelers to get things back on track? Because their lack of success, and in some cases, effort, is taking a toll on the fans. Aaron Rodgers even noted that the Green Bay fans drowned out the locals in Pittsburgh during a primetime game, an unacceptable state of affairs for what has historically been one of the most hostile stadiums for visiting teams to play in. When asked what needs to change, Tomlin highlights execution, but it will take far more than that to win the fans back. Any sense that there's a plan for the future would be a good start. Getting out of QB purgatory, showing some willingness to change things that aren't working instead of beating a dead horse, and winning a playoff game will be the bare necessities. Otherwise, if more of the same lies ahead for Coach Tomlin, his time may finally be running out in Pittsburgh. But what do you think? What is to blame for the Steelers' struggles? Let us know in the comments.